All right, let's get into it. Impromptu live stream. Why not? F it. Why not? Let's do it. We'll do it live. This has been a roller coaster of a day. I wrote up here that it's a disastrous sports day. I think it's disastrous for one reason, and that reason is head and shoulders above any other reason why it would be a good or bad day. And you all know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to get into that. The Giants made some moves. That has happened. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't, but the Giants made some moves. So, I mean, listen, was it anything to really, bring me up from that absolute rock bottom that I hit when I got the news earlier today with Garrett Cole? Obviously, that's what I'm going to be talking about. Possible news. So, I mean, I'm going to get into that. I also wanted to talk about some of the various things the Giants did. I know that, Sean Morash and myself will be discussing this tomorrow morning on One Giant Step. That will come out probably tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. However fast I can turn it around, it will be out. But I'm going to offer my 2 cents on a few of these deals. But I'm going to start with this. And that is, of course, with the heartbreaking news earlier on today. It was announced. Let me check because I want to get my facts straight on this because I made a TikTok earlier on in the day about, this potentially being the case. But yeah, here we go. About 3.5 hours ago, 6:03 was when Jeff Passan killed what little hope us Yankees fans had that Garrett Cole would be able to avoid getting Tommy John and pitch at least at some point this year. And of course, he comes out and says what we had all been fearing up until this point, that Garrett Cole will need Tommy John and he will miss the entire 2025 season. And just like that, the Yankee season is essentially over. I don't have this isn't copium. Like, there's no hopium involved in any of this. The season's over. And there are people already out there, Sean being one of them, trying to move the goalpost, trying to say, oh, maybe this could be a little Cinderella team, the little engine that could. Fuck that, respectfully. I don't give a shit about that. This was unavoidable. Like, I'm not gonna blame Brian Cashman for the fact that Garrett Cole needs Tommy John, but it sucks. It sucks. And I said it earlier on today. This is the least I've been looking forward to a season in all of the seasons that I've rooted for any one of my sports teams. Yes, even the 2018 Knicks, the 2019 Knicks. At least the AL is wide open to where the Yankees could at least be competitive in the postseason. Other than that, what the hell are you watching for? Maybe to see how good Jason Dominguez is. Maybe to see how well Max Fried's game translates to New York with the Yankees. Maybe to see if Carlos Rodon in his 3rd year in pinstripes can finally turn it the F around. Other than that, what is there? You want to see what Paul Goldschmidt's going to do in the waning years of his career? How about Cody Bellinger? Maybe Cody Bellinger's going to be able to turn it around and become an MVP again. What else is there? Or maybe you want to watch Devin Williams in what might be his first and final year as a Yankee and what he could do as the closer. Or maybe Luke Weaver could turn it around or could continue his great year last year. What else is there to look forward to with this team? What else is there? Oh, can Aaron Judge put up another MVP year just for him to falter in the postseason? Man, I'm disappointed. And again, there's no one to blame for this. This isn't on Garrett Cole. This isn't on Aaron Boone. It just happens. Part of sports. It sucks. Now, does it make it any easier for myself as a Yankees fan? Does it make me any more excited? The fact that I have no one to blame this on? No. Because it happened. And now the Yankees lose their ace, and this proverbial window of Aaron Judge's prime is closing. I'm not going to say it's fully closed yet, but we may be looking at Garrett Cole out for a year and a half. Maybe the Yankees get Garrett Cole back in August of next year. It remains to be seen. We'll find out more tomorrow when he actually gets the Tommy John surgery. I'm glad they're not wasting any time with it. They're going to put him under tomorrow. Amazing. They should have done this 4 months ago. Not that, again, not that this was expected, not that they knew. It's just, man, how the hell do you blow 2 gems from Gerrit Cole in the freaking World Series? Not 1, but 2 in games 1 and 5. That was your chance on his exorbitant contract. That was your chance with Aaron Judge still in his prime. With Giancarlo Stanton, who might miss the entire year as well, still mashing in the postseason. Who knows if he'll ever recover from these, but 2 elbows, not 1, but 2 elbows are injured. 2 tennis elbows. How is that possible? So the Yankees are losing, I mean, when it matters the most, their 2 most important players. You could say Judge, but we know Aaron Judge to be the player that he's been his entire career, besides the 2017 postseason. A guy who does not rise to the occasion. He does not meet the biggest moments in sports. That's just who he is. You know, he could say, I understand how bad I need to be better. I'm going to be better. You could say it all you want. You know, I'm going to be a better tweeter. That doesn't mean I'm actually going to do it. That doesn't mean I'm magically going to wake up tomorrow and learn how to freaking tweet. But listen, man, I don't even know what to say anymore. This is as disappointing as I've ever been as a sports fan. It really is. Because the Yankees got talent. They got talent, man. Of course, they lost Juan Soto. I mean, that would have been fun to have Juan Soto for the next 14, 15 years. They lost out on him to the crosstown rival Mets. They signed Max Fried as a pivot, traded for Cody Bellinger. They traded for washed Paul Goldschmidt. How can this team win? Like, what realistically needs to happen? What needs to change for this Yankees team to win this year? And I'll give you a few possibilities here. Not saying that these are at all realistic. 1, Paul Goldschmidt has to turn back the clock to 2022, 3 seasons ago when he won the MVP. Cody Bellinger has to turn the clock 6, 7 years ago to when he won the MVP with the Dodgers. Max Fried has to be a better player in pinstripes than he was in Atlanta. And oh, guess what? You know who's actually going to have to pitch well? Carlos Rodon, the least reliable guy on this Yankees roster. And then finally, most importantly, Aaron Judge can't be an absolute non-factor in the postseason. All of that combined needs to happen for the Yankees to get back to where they were last year. And they magically need to have as easy of a postseason run like they did last year. With the Rangers not making the playoffs. The Red Sox still being a year off from their best prospects being up. How many other teams need to falter or not improve for the Yankees to get back to that point? I mean, thank goodness the Orioles did nothing. Thank goodness no one wants to play for the Blue Jays. The Red Sox still might be a year or 2 away from competing, even though they finally made some moves. They finally made some splashes in free agency. The John Henry is cheap excuse isn't there anymore. So, listen, I want to sit here. I want to find a silver lining in this upcoming year for the Yankees. I want to tell you that everything's going to be all sunshine and rainbows. Trust me. Deep down, I want to be positive. As negative as people paint me out to be, I don't want to go into a season without any hope. I had hope last season. I didn't have much hope that the Yankees would re-sign Juan Soto. Look how that came to fruition. But I had hope that the Yankees would be able to do some damage in the AL and potentially made the World Series. And they did. And they blew it in historic fashion. Ryan Cohen says, it's okay. The Brunsonless Knicks will cheer you up in 30 minutes. I was thinking about, instead of doing a recap of the entire day, and thanks for your comment, Ryan. I was thinking about doing a pregame show for the Knicks. Who the hell can? They're playing the Kings tonight. If they don't win tonight, you could start sounding the alarm bells. You can. I give you permission to start declaring the season lost. If they lose to the Kings without Domantas Sabonis coming off a back-to-back, this could be the worst sports day of my life. It could be. It really could be. So yeah, we'll learn more information with Garrett Cole tomorrow when he actually goes under the knife. Dr. Neil, I always forget Neil Atrache. I always forget how to pronounce that name, but he's the the world's most renowned Tommy John surgery specialist. He's the guy you go to when you want to get that procedure done. I think most of the guys in Major League Baseball get it done by him. He's raking in the dough. I can guarantee you that. With how many guys need Tommy John, everyone. It seems like everyone and their mothers is getting Tommy John. But yeah, this is a sobering reality for the Yankees and us fans. As much as we want to sit here and have hope and think that our team could make it back to where they were last year, man, I just don't know. I don't know. And it's not like, okay, he gets Tommy John. He'll be back next year just as good. He's old. He's in his mid-30s at this point. Next year, in his mid-30s, coming off of Tommy John surgery, listen, it can be done. He can come back just as good. I mean, you see increasingly more and more guys, some of them improve after Tommy John. But a lot of guys return to form after Tommy John. They've got really good at doing the surgery. I'm concerned. I am. About the current makeup of this team. They're old. I mean, Max Fried was just signed to an 8-year deal. What is he, 32? Turning 32. Carlos Rodon isn't necessarily young. Luis Gil's pretty young. Other than that, this Yankees team is as win now as anyone else in Major League Baseball. As much as the Dodgers are. The Rangers. The Padres. And there are a few teams in this league who have gone all in. I mean, the Dodgers are going to be competitive for the next 10 years because they're willing to spend the money. And they've got all these young Japanese guys. Everyone wants to go play for them. What do you do? How fun is that? I've ranted about that a million times. I'm not excited about it. Watching them win World Series after World Series after World Series. If they choke, I mean, they should be minus odds. They should be favored among all the 30 teams in Major League Baseball to win the World Series. That's how freaking good they are. Who is excited about this season? I mean, every single good Japanese player is going to go to the Dodgers. Are we back? I think we're back. The Wi-Fi sucks. Terrible. I had to switch it midstream, but we got people. I don't know. No one left. I don't know. But thanks, Elon. Makes no sense. But listen, how could you be excited about this season? As a Yankee fan, I wasn't very excited going into the season because I saw how many guys the Dodgers got. I saw what the Dodgers did to the Yankees last year. They improved. The Yankees lost their best hitter. They tried to improve. All these guys combined might have a similar WAR to Juan Soto. Listen, it's tough. It's very tough. And I'm not going to sit here and try to paint you a pretty picture. It's difficult. And I have very little hope going into this season, as I'm sure a lot of you, agree with. All right, let's shift gears here. There's something slightly more positive. The Giants made some, marginal improvements. I thought the one signing they made, Chris Board, they signed a linebacker I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. James Hudson III, offensive tackle. I actually like that deal. But the big splash was Paulson Adebo. I'll learn how to pronounce that very soon. Probably after this. I didn't think about learning that. Listen, this is the splash of free agency for Joe Shane. What was the one position they needed to improve the most? Cornerback. Specifically, cornerback 1. Deonte Banks is a trash can. at corner. He's atrocious. He was statistically one of, if not the worst cornerback in all of the NFL last year. He sucks. Maybe he's better off. Maybe. I mean, listen, what other option the Giants have? He will be better off. Well, let's hope he's better off as the second cornerback. And Adebo, like he injured himself last year, 7 games in. He's had 7 picks over the last 1.5 years. He didn't play the full year this year. He will slot in at cornerback 1. Do I think he is a cornerback 1? Not really. He played alongside Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore is the number 1 option at quarterback. So he's been the second quarterback. And you see the Giants' schedule next year, how many good receivers they're going to play. Not going to be an easy task whatsoever. But listen, if Deonte Banks could slot into the cornerback 2 position and play at least slightly better than he did last year, then that'll be a win. So that was the biggest move the Giants made. The biggest head scratcher that, again, Sean and I will get to on One Giant Step. We'll record tomorrow morning. Didn't want to record tonight. That's why I did my own thing here, because the Giants still, and you can keep me posted on this because I'm on Do Not Disturb. If the Giants sign a quarterback, please let me know. Please let me know, because I have no idea. I'm not currently active on my phone. But yeah, so the Giants didn't sign a quarterback, so we decided to postpone it tomorrow morning. Just in case, because anything can happen. Aaron Rodgers could stop being high for once and make a decision here on Iusko, however the heck you pronounce it. Man, I mean, I thought the Giants would have a quarterback at this point locked in. This could be worst case scenario, guys. Like, they don't end up with one of these veteran quarterbacks. The Titans decide they really want Cam Ward. They sign Russell Wilson. They really want Cam Ward to learn under Russell Wilson. And they ask for a king's ransom to get to number 1. The Giants are stuck with not even a bridge quarterback, and they're looking at, 2 wins next year, and then everyone's gone. They're going to wipe the slate clean. Everyone is gone. At that point, John Mara might have to sell the team in shame. If they win 2 or 3 games next year. I think that's a likelihood at this point, if they still aren't able to lock down a quarterback. But it's 10:08 on March 10th. Free agency started almost 12 hours ago at this point, and the Giants still do not have a quarterback on their roster not named Tommy DeVito. It's a little concerning, if you ask me. A little concerning. There's still 3 options realistically remaining here. You got Kirk Cousins, so there really hasn't been much word on him. The Giants might be forced into training for him, but they have to give up capital for Kirk Cousins. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Kill me. Kill me. And these are the options the Giants have right now. I don't know how to do it anymore. I don't know how to get through my day-to-day activities with how big of a joke my sports teams are right now. If you missed it, I just recapped for 15 minutes the most devastating news that I have ever received. Not ever, but in the last 5 years, the Garrett Cole injury news. He'll be out for the season, Tommy John surgery. So if you missed that, scroll back. After this is done, you watch that. You know, no copium, no opium for me. I'm telling you like it is. Season's over. Now I have to deal with this Giants team that can't seem to get out of its own way. Still doesn't have a quarterback. Still has no quarterback on the roster besides Tommy freaking DeVito. And guess what? They've got the 3rd pick, and they're going to have to potentially attach his 1st rounder or 2nd rounder to get the 1st pick. What a freaking disaster. And people gave me you-know-what for what happened against the Colts, in which Drew Lock had one of the greatest performances in NFL history. For what? For what? And maybe, listen, I've convinced myself and the other things, a part of my life, that everything happens for a reason. And you kind of have to. You got to tell yourself stuff when you're going through shit, when you're depressed. Not saying that I'm depressed, but I have been in the past. And one thing that is able to get me through things is telling myself that everything happens for a reason. Maybe, just maybe, the Giants were so incompetent this year, not incompetent enough that they couldn't lose enough games to get the first pick, that they screwed themselves out of the first pick. They don't take Shedeur Sanders. If they take Shedeur, then I take it back, and everything doesn't happen for a reason. They don't take Shedeur Sanders because they understand that Shedeur Sanders does not hold a third overall pick value in this draft. And they take Abdul Carter, and they trade Kayvon Thibodeau. And they suck this year, this upcoming year. And then they're in a spot to draft Arch Manning. Maybe that's the quarterback of the future. Maybe everything happens for a reason, guys. Maybe that's the case. How awesome. At this point, you just got to tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to get through the days at this point. How could one be excited about anything that these New York sports teams are doing? My father just jumps in. He's obviously late because 15 minutes ago, I said, Sabonis is out. The Knicks should win this game. Thank you, Father. The Knicks need to win this game. I know I'm all over the place here. We're just talking Giants. You know what? Screw. I got off topic here. I want to talk about this Darius Slayton deal. Again, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow morning on One Giant Step with Sean Morash. You get that wherever you can't speak. This has been a brutal day. I've been up since 6. You can get that wherever you get your podcast, the Odyssey app as well. I hate the deal. I hate 3 years, $36 million for Darius Slayton, for your third option at wide receiver when you don't even have a quarterback. $12 million a year. $12 freaking million a year. I honestly feel bad for him. I mean, I don't feel bad because he took the money. Apparently he wasn't going to get anything close to that elsewhere. Because if he did, I'd say hasta la vista, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. I'm going to go try to win. But he gets $12 million a year to be the third option in offense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The Giants have, I wouldn't say a tiny amount, but they had a small amount of cap room, middle of the pack in the NFL, amount of cap space. You have to be careful with everything you have. And instead of going out and addressing more holes the Giants have, they decide to re-sign Darius Slayton for 3 freaking years. And you know what that means? That the Jalen Hyatt experiment is officially over. It's been over, considering the snap share that he had last year. The guy barely played. I mean, Brian Daboll has zero trust in him. Zero trust. And they just freaking re-sign Darius Slayton. Jeff Schneider, my guy. Bryce, we have the worst GM in NFL history. That's why we don't have a quarterback yet. Guy let Saquon walk. Okay, that was the right move to let Saquon walk. Just was at the time. I still stand by it. It's unfortunate that he went out and had the level of success that he did with division rival, the Giants' most hated rival, the Eagles. But shit happens. You know, I think it's been said a million times. I mean, we're beating the dead horse at this point that the Giants, how many times are they going to tweet out that freaking picture of John Mara saying, I'm not going to be able to sleep well tonight if Saquon goes to the Eagles? We get it, okay? We understand. There are casuals out there who still try to convince us that Joe Schoen letting Saquon Barkley walk when he offered him the same amount, if not more money the year before for an extension, which he turned down, was the worst decision in NFL history. I always use the analogy, that meme of the dilapidated house with the Bugatti next to it. That's what it would have been like if Saquon was brought back to the Giants. They didn't have a winning culture. They didn't have a good enough roster to win with him. So what's the point of bringing him back? The Giants realistically looked at this as another 3 or 4 year rebuild, which it is. It made no sense to bring Saquon back. Now, do I fully disagree with you that Joe Schoen he's not the worst GM in NFL history? I mean, Dave Gettleman was worse, I think, arguably. But one of the worst at this point, yeah. I mean, you can make that argument. Although I think some of the decisions that he's made that have gotten him the most backlash have come from the desk of John Mara just as much as they've come from the desk of Joe Schoen. And it's like the franchise's worst kept secret that Joe Schoen wasn't the only one who wanted Daniel Jones back on that contract. I could basically guarantee you that John Mara wanted it the same, if not even more, to bring Daniel Jones back. So they did. I mean, look at all the other moves that Joe Schoen has made since the Daniel Jones move. Does that scream, I want to pay a guy who won one playoff game $40 million a year? You know what that tells me? You really want to know what that says? John Mara, like he always did, meddled in that front office decision and brought Daniel Jones back. And then you saw what happened last offseason. John Mara took a step back because I think he realized how much he effed up. We saw that on Hard Knocks when he decided to not meddle and to not force Saquon into them giving him a contract. I mean, he obviously meddled with the front office decisions in the 2023 season before the trade deadline, in which the very obvious move was to trade Saquon if you didn't plan on bringing him back. So instead of the Giants getting a second or a third round pick for Saquon Barkley in the middle of the season, they got nothing. He walked for free. That also screamed John Mara. I want to sell more tickets. I want to give fans something to hope for. And in that case, the hope was a stupid Italian. And this is not my way of bashing Italians. I love Italians. Just not this one. That stupid freaking hand motion with this ugly agent winning 3 games in a row and having the Giants lose out on Jaden Daniels. That's what happened. Because John Mara wanted to sell more tickets, wanted to give fans that false hope. And that's how it ended up. If you want to throw worse titles out, Jeff, call John Mara the worst owner in sports. I think that's a much more valid criticism. I think he's one of the worst owners in sports. Genuinely. And he is so in over his head. How long did it take him to realize I'm the owner? I don't know jack shit about football. I probably shouldn't meddle in decisions. And he finally stopped. That's why we saw that, the Saquon, the lack of contract they gave Saquon last year. So, listen, underwhelming day for the Giants. Again, I kind of went through the other deals. They signed offensive tackle James Hudson III. He was formerly of the Cleveland Browns. They brought in Chris Board, who is a linebacker formerly of the Ravens. They brought in Roy, and this is the one I'm actually kind of excited for, Roy Robertson Harris. The Giants so desperately needed a backup defensive tackle. Dexter Lawrence is doing all of this on his own. Having another competent defensive tackle, no one's saying that, 31-year-old Roy Robertson Harris is going to be this generational talent for the team. But having someone of at least some competence next to Dexter Lawrence, not Elijah Chapman next to him, could do wonders. I think it could be one of the easiest positions in football to play. Defensive tackle next to Dexter Lawrence. Because of how often Dexter Lawrence is getting double teamed, more than any player in the NFL. It's not even close last year, before Dexter Lawrence got hurt. So we'll see if anything else happens. Be sure to stay tuned and locked into my Twitter account. I'm going to retweet the post whenever we do One Giant Step, myself and Sean Morash tomorrow. And hopefully we have some quarterback news, because as of right now, as of 10:19 on Monday, March 10th, let me just check my phone again. Let me just check. Still no news on quarterback. So, maybe they have a quarterback tomorrow at 10 when we record, or maybe they don't. We'll see. But until then, I'm Bryce Gelman, and hopefully the Knicks can get a win tonight. If they don't win, as I said before, this would be the worst sports day I've ever had in my entire life. And my thoughts and prayers go out to all of you fellow Yankees fans who had to suffer through today's news, and who, like myself, are trying their absolute hardest to get amped up for this baseball season and are finding it extremely difficult to do so. Because correctly, the Yankees are fucked. That'll do it. I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a good one.